Hey everybody, this is Joe back with another episode of the Water Box 130.4. We woke up yesterday morning to find our Coral Beauty and Royal Grama deceased in the tank. I immediately took them out and inspected them a little bit, and then I turned on the whites, and all I could see on most of my fish, except for the chromis, was a white slime coat with some white spot. Now, it does not look like ick because the whole fish was kind of like a milky white color with some spots everywhere. So I'm assuming it was either velvet. It could be a mixture of velvet and ick, or it could be brook. So, you know, I know brook is mainly affecting clowns, but, you know, I did read some articles yesterday, and it can affect a lot of different type of fish. So, you know, one of my clowns is covered in that white milky slime coat with some spots. The other one is doing just fine. I noticed my dragon goby, he was covered. My firefish seemed to be fine, but there were a couple of spots on their fins. So basically what I did is I rushed to Petco just to pick up a 20-gallon long, and I also have a 10-gallon here that I use for copper for just, you know, one or two fish. But I wanted something bigger. I had 11 fish in the 130.4, and now I have 9. So something happened overnight. I did not notice this the day before. Maybe it was just because I wasn't paying attention. But I instantly threw up this 20-gallon long and mixed some salt water. I pulled the 2 bags of matrix that I had in my sump. I think there were 500 milliliters each, and stuck them in here, and ended up taking out all my rock work in my main display and netting all the fish. And so I'm going to turn it around to show you my setup and what I'm using to treat these fish at the moment. All right, so here is my quarantine tank that I set up. I had to go to Petco and get this because all I had was that 10-gallon little tank that I have that I use for like 1 to 3 fish. And I know a 20 gallons probably not big enough still, but really that's all I could do at the time. So, you know, I had to act fast, and I ended up going to Home Depot and picking up some plumbing parts, and I also picked up those bins that you see down there, those black bins, because I had to take out all my rock work. But basically what I've been dosing is Prasi Pro. I did a dose of that as soon as I got them into the tank. And then about 6 hours later, I dosed my first dose of Cupramine, which was 20 drops for 20 gallons. And I'm supposed to wait 48 hours and redose. But what I think I'm going to do is just dose 10 drops instead of another 20, just so that I bring it up slowly and monitor it with my copper test kit. And I know you can't really see in here, but the bigger clown is covered in a white milky spotty substance. I have a dragon goby that is the same way, 2 firefish. I also have a yellow-eyed coal tang in there. He doesn't really have the milkiness, but he does have spots on his fins and basically on his head. So he's in there somewhere. I also have 3 chromis they weren't really affected by whatever these other fish have, but so far none of the fish in this quarantine tank has passed away yet, so that's a good thing. This is only the second day of treatment, and I can already tell that the clown is looking a hell of a lot better than what it was yesterday. And I'm gonna go out there and show you my new scape and tell you what I'm going to do here. So this is my new scape, and I know my blues are on, so it's a little hard to see everything, but the only thing that's in this tank right now are my corals, 2 shrimp, a mixture of snails, and some hermit crabs. And so what I'm going to do is I am literally going to let this tank sit fallow for about 3 months. You know, I've been watching Steve from Rotter Tube, and I'm going to follow his method because I know ick you can eradicate from your tank if you let it sit fallow, because there's no host for them to feast upon. And that is what I'm going to do. Like I said, I don't think I have ick, but it works for other parasites like brook and velvet. And we're just going to let this tank sit. And basically, I think I know what happened. I ended up picking up a blasto and a scully from a guy who was breaking down his tank, and he's also a manager at Petco. And so he told me to meet him at Petco, and I did, and lo and behold, the 2 corals were sitting in a Petco tank. So I came home, I dipped them. I only dipped them for about 15 minutes. I was so excited to get them in here. And I think whatever parasite I have in this tank hitchhiked on those 2 corals, because everything was fine before that. I'm not saying that is the sole reason. It's just a theory of mine. I mean, I could have had it in here from day one. You know me, I quarantine my fish, and somehow they got something. And it could have been from, you know, the snails I picked up. It could have been from other corals that I've picked up. And I'm not 100% sure, but my theory is the 2 corals that I picked up from the guy at Petco. And so I give a big shout out to my wife. She really stepped up. She helped me. I mean, we stayed up. You know, we started the project at, I want to say, 10 a.m. yesterday. And we did not finish getting the fish in the tank until, I want to say, 6, and we didn't end up going to bed until like 2 in the morning, because we had to rescape this, you know, get the fish out of it after we took all the rocks out, which was a pain in the butt already. I ended up mixing up some more salt water and doing a 30% water change on this, just because I had the 2 fish in there die. And I just didn't want to take any chances. So that is my sad story. I don't wish this upon anybody, but please, if you find a sick fish, or if you notice multiple fish that are sick, please do them justice and rip out your rock work, even though it's a pain in the ass. Get them in quarantine, and I mean every single fish you have. I know some fish are sensitive to copper, but you might be able to set up a smaller tank and do some hyposalinity for those ones, like the wrasses and some of the tangs. In my experience, every tang that I have seen in quarantine with copper have been fine. So I have my yellow-eyed coal tang in there, and hopefully he does fine as well. But I'm not gonna go into any controversy. You know, I didn't want to use any reef safe products because I'm a firm believer they don't work. Is they're just bottles of snake oil. I know some of you are probably gonna beg to differ, but basically all you're seeing when you use those products is the parasite falling off of the fish and laying dormant, and then they're gonna hatch again, swim up through your water column, find another fish, and you know, that could take a month or two, and you're just gonna repeat the cycle over and over again until you are doing what I am doing and what Steve from Rotter Tube has said to do, and that is to leave your main display tank fallow. He says 6 to 8 weeks. You know, I'm gonna shoot higher than that and do 12, and that way it will help me get some more corals in here and maybe a couple more shrimp. And I'm gonna do that this weekend because I know when I put those in there, the clock basically starts over again. But I just want to rearrange the corals I have in here. They're not in the spots that I want them. We were dead tired. I just made sure that they were in some spots that got light and you know, the proper flow. My shrimp are loving it in there. They're actually out and about right now. Most of the time they're kind of in the back, out and about, so you can't see them, but they're out in the front now. And that's what I'm going to do. So that is my sad story, and I hope you guys like and subscribe to my video and my YouTube channel. Y'all have a great night. Bye-bye.